we have come to that time in our show. And I'm up here introducing our next storyteller because I met this woman over 30 years ago on a little tiny liberal arts college campus in Galesburg, Illinois, along with many of you who made the trek. It is an unbelievable testament to this woman's spirit that she has gathered everybody here. I will take a moment here, and I don't think Glenda will mind, just say that in the audience is one of our very special friends who's actually prepping for her first radiation treatment tomorrow. And I just want to say, if everybody can just give her the most positive, uplifting energy tomorrow, I'm sure it would be appreciated. On that note, I would like to welcome to the stage a storyteller extraordinaire, all the way from Toledo, Ohio, with a throng of fans, Glenda Garrison.
Thought of my family as a pretty relaxed bunch. Not a lot stresses us out, pretty mellow, go with the flow. So much so, in fact, that like when normal people take action, we sort of gravitate towards the path of least resistance. Our strongest point, really, or maybe our weakest, is that we adapt amazingly to our environment. We're sort of like poster kids for modern day Darwinism. This trait becomes pretty clear when you see how we maintain our cars, our home, sometimes ourselves. Take our vehicles, for example. We had this conversion van that was so overdressed. We named her Miss Fancy Pants. The interior was over the top. It had plush, mauve, velour captain seats. It had white twinkly lights around the ceiling. The windows had mini blinds. There was even a built-in dustbuster vacuum. This van was nicer than our house. Well, until the heater went out. Now, as you guys know, in the Midwest, winters can be cold. Most people would fix the heater, but not us. Instead, we implemented the blanket program. Every morning, we'd be getting ready to head out, and I'd go through the usual questions with the kids. Do you have your backpack? Do you have your lunchbox? Do you have your blankets? We did this for years, including myself, snuggled up as we drove down the road. We had this other fantastic minivan, Old Faithful. One day, we were at school in the parking lot after school, and it was time to load the kids into the car seats. As I took the handle to the door to give it a big tug to open that sliding door, it kept going. The door fell off the track. I tried to put it back on. Clearly that wasn't going to work, so I decided I would put the door in the back of the van and drive very carefully. I mean, the kids were going to be in their car seats. And I just thought of it more as like a sunroof that had been rotated. Well, after a few years, Old Faithful was falling apart. Things were happening left and right, and she was renamed the Deathmobile. And there was one annoying, but mostly manageable problem, and that the driver's seat would just collapse unexpectedly. It would just fall backward without any notice. Now, this actually evolved into an outstanding ab workout and posture improvement program. The only person who really complained was my son Daniel, who sat behind the driver's seat. His legs would get flacked. Now, one time I took the Deathmobile to have the brakes checked because we're laid back, but we're not irresponsible. And about an hour after I had dropped off the van, I got a phone call from my mechanic, who was a little breathless and sounded a bit anxious. He said, "Glenda, the brakes are the least of your problems. You need a new driver's seat." I had totally forgotten to warn him about that. We had a very surprising test drive. So, as if cars aren't enough, then you have the house situation. After a couple years of renting, we finally buy our home. It's built in 1923 and has character, which we all just know is another word for headaches. But the bathroom had been recently updated, probably in the late 70s. Had a beautiful fiberglass tub and shower surround. Now, after several years of living there, the bottom of the tub actually split open. Water was leaking into the light fixture in our kitchen wall. Now, even I know when action needs to be taken. So for 2 years, I just filled those growing cracks with silicone caulk. Till one Thanksgiving when my brother Phil showed up and declared that maybe we should really tackle the problem. So what started out as just a holiday conversation about possibly remodeling the bathroom ended up with my cracked tub going out the front door of the house a half an hour before the turkey was served. My mother's yelling for oven mitts, and Phil's looking for a Sawzall. Another Thanksgiving, we had the whole family in town, and we just had a really nice breakfast. We're sitting around the table, relaxing, chatting. There are 12 of us, just a nice sized group. All of a sudden, there's this huge crash in the kitchen, and a gigantic hunk of the ceiling fell down. And water from the toilet above is just pouring down into the kitchen. Now, it might be a sign that we're a little bit laid back when the 5 of us who live in the home just casually turned our heads to look when everybody else left up and ran to the kitchen. But the important part here is that the turkey was on the other side of the kitchen and survived unscathed. So speaking of Thanksgiving, I love the holidays. Well, okay, just one holiday, Christmas. I'm not big into the other holidays. I don't decorate for like the 4th of July or Halloween or Thanksgiving, but Christmas is the exception. Part of the reason I don't decorate for the other holidays is I'm not very good at it. I get impatient with garlands, strands of lights frustrate me, and I can't tie a presentable bow to save my life. But part of the reason I am enthusiastic about Christmas is because I have a friend who decorates for me. I have the wonderful, amazingly talented Dave. For over 20 years after Thanksgiving, Dave has come over and transformed our home with decorations. It's always the same. Put on the holiday music, we open the wine, and we get to work. Now, Dave has a passion and talent for decorating, and I have a passion and talent for drinking wine. It works out beautifully. But actually, I don't like to make Dave do all the work, so I do try and help out where I can, which is why one year I found myself standing on a chair in the living room with a hammer in hand, hanging some roping over the front door. You know how it is when you're balanced on the chair trying to do something, you're hanging there, and, well, 2 hands really aren't enough, which is why I had the nail in my mouth. And just imagine my surprise when I am hammering away, and I inhaled the nail. There's this fleeting moment of confusion. Oh, I could feel it. It was right there. And I gulped twice, and then it was right there. So, I'm still on my chair, and Dave was in the other room, also on a chair. And so I said to him, Dave, I just swallowed the nail. Do you think that's a problem? Now, if there's anybody in the world who's more calm than I am, it's Dave. So Dave is still working away. He says to me, "Can you breathe?" I said, "Yes." And I didn't mention, did I, that Dave is a nurse. So Mr. Medical Professional concludes that I should be just fine, but advises another glass or two of wine to help wash it down. I followed his advice. So I was all excited, thinking I had a hysterical story to share with my coworkers the next day. Going to work, all ready, tell my story. Much to my disappointment, no one found it humorous. Oh no, they're worried, they're concerned. Then I called the doctor. The nail could perforate something, it could block something. It sounded very serious and dramatic. So to keep the peace, I called the doctor and made an appointment. Nothing like being 45 years old and having to call to say that you swallowed a nail. But it took a single x-ray to reveal the glistening 1.5-inch nail nestled comfortably in my lower intestine. Fortunately, things worked out. And the x-ray, breathtaking in its own right, is now adorned in garland and has earned a spot amid the holiday decorations as a sparkling reminder that I have indeed
You have.
internalized all those Christmas. My life is full of amazing adventures, and I can't wait to find out what I'm not going to worry about in 2016.
Sometimes I just am reminded by how fortunate my own life has been in the stories of others. So that concludes our show. Up in the booth. And Alan M. Green, who has been snapping pictures in the back of the room, as Lauren informed us earlier. Alan's been taking pictures of all the performers, and they will be posted on our Facebook group. If you do not want your picture posted online, please see him after the show. Otherwise, we need all the performers.
If you tell the story, get on stage.